Greetings, this is Atma Bodha. Today is January 13th, 2022 at 5:27 a.m. Got a bit of a late start on this podcast, but I've got some great content. The title of today's podcast is Episode 47, The Ultimate Proof of Free Will. Beginning now. Choices themselves are a limitation. Meditation is proof of free will. If we are merely the byproduct of our environment, there would be no reason to do it. Meditation is the anti-choice. The moment we choose anything external, we have limited ourselves to that choice, however momentary it might be. Choices trade our unlimitedness with a limitation. When you are truly liberated, you are free from choices because you are continuously experiencing the transcendence of choice. This is the reason that the illusion of free will exists. It gives you the chance to eventually choose the best, often after your other choices are exhausted. Even if your choices led you to emptiness and despair, nothing can take away from you the choice to experience your limitlessness. The last place most people will ever focus is within. Consequently, doing so is an act of defiance against the conformity of determinism. For this reason, self-determinism is the antithesis of determinism. Focus on self is the ultimate proof of free will. The choice to quit smoking is a great example of free will. Why do people do this? They are choosing limitlessness over the physical addiction that gives them the illusion of satisfaction. This discomfort to go against the protestations of your body that screams for this fix of pleasure is widely regarded as common sense now. Why is it logical to quit? It's because science proves that non-smokers are healthier and live longer. In other words, smoking limits you. In the same way, only an inward focus, free from external desires, is the least limiting choice. This choice of non-choice is the ultimate expression of free will. And that concludes the post that I posted earlier on Reddit, which you are free to comment on if you visit the links at divinity.com. And beginning now, we're going to go ahead and add to this. And there's some other writings also that I wrote that I might go over on this podcast, or I might save it for the following podcast. But let's go ahead and reiterate the title: The Ultimate Proof of Free Will. Free will is a concept that is debated. Determinism, as you may or may not know, is basically the concept that we are the product of our environment because of things that have happened to us in the past determines our actions for the future. So it's basically saying that external stimuli and your history of who you are and the experiences that determine who you are determine also what you do. And there are some flaws with that concept because it's quite a superficial one if you think about it. People are more than the sum of their parts. People are more than what actions that they did or didn't do or what happened to them in the past. It's not our external stimuli that determines who we are, but there is an inner nature deep within us that in fact can determine our environment instead of our environment determining us. And that is a really, how do I say this? It's like the world tries to convince you of one thing. It's like there's a programming that happens where the world tries to make you into a consumer. It's trying to tell you what you should want, what you shouldn't want, what clothes you should buy, what shoes you should buy, what food you should eat, what food you shouldn't eat. And that continuous programming happens from a very, very early age. And not to go too much on a tangent here, but with my experience in teaching young children as young as kindergarten and babies, I've noticed something about kids which is beautiful. People, as children, we have this innocence and this exuberance about us. Our world is still new to us, and life is an adventure. We are spontaneous, and we look around us in wonder and awe at the beauty of life around us. And it may be that simpler things captivate our attention more. Our minds are still developing, and unfortunately, as we grow older, it's almost like society wants to wash us, wants to rid us of our innocence. It wants to take away that fundamental optimism that we had as kids away from us. It tries to turn us into a more negative, restrained, constricted, restricted version of our unlimited, boundless self that we had as children. And that is why in the Bible it says that we must be like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. And it's not only the Bible that says this, but other religious traditions also. It's because as young children, we aren't tainted. We don't have these desires as much. We can enjoy the simple things in life. We can be happy just to be alive. Just to look at the ordinary and the mundane, we can be alive. We can find reasons to play. And as we get older, society says, no, you shouldn't do that anymore. You need to get serious. You need to study. You need to look at life from a more mature perspective. And that's why when you look at adults, many times adults are much more boring than kids. It's like kids, they still know how to play. They still know how to have fun. But you look at these other mature adults, and what is it about them? It's like they're so serious. It's like they forgot what it's like to have fun and play. It's like, what happened? What happened to that child inside of you? What happened to it? Why do you want to kill the child within? Why do you want to be this boring person? But you know what? Even these boring people, they still have that child within somewhere. Deep within, maybe. Maybe it got buried. But it's still there. We shouldn't think that we are better than children. We should, in some ways, think that children are better than us. Why are they better than us? Because they can be happy in every situation, at least more so than many adults. They're not so easily bored. They can be entertained with simple things. You can find enjoyment with everything. And it's a whole mindset, right? So, in my opinion, that is the future is when we can come to that superior mindset of spontaneity. But let's just go ahead and review what we just talked about here. First of all, let's see here. It says here choices are a limitation. Why are choices a limitation? Well, if you think about it, by the fact that you're making a choice, what are you doing? You're limiting yourself to that choice. Whereas if you're not making any choices at all, you are coming from a place of limitlessness. And so you can argue that not making a choice is also a form of a limitation, but it depends on what choice you're not making. Because if you are coming from an enlightened place where every moment is pure bliss, you don't need to make a choice to feel complete. And that's the most important concept to understand here. You don't need to make a choice to feel complete. It's like you don't need to feel complete only if you are a millionaire. Or you don't need to be complete only if you are a billionaire. It's like you should never have how many zeros on your bank account define you and who you are. In fact, you shouldn't think someone else is better than you just because they have more zeros in their bank account. It just means that they have more money than you. That doesn't mean they're a better person. That doesn't even mean that they're more powerful than you. Because money is only one form of power. It's a form of material power. But do you know what's even more powerful than money? Is the ability to influence people. It's the ability to experience truth. It's the ability to create. That's even more powerful than money. Because if you have a lot of talent in one particular area, that's going to attract money. Money follows excellence. Money does not follow mediocrity. And one thing is for certain is if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. That's definite. That's for sure. And if you see yourself as someone that is less than other people, then that's going to make other people also see you as less than. So that's an important concept here. So choices trade our unlimitedness with a limitation. And when you're truly liberated, you are free from choices because you're continuously experiencing the transcendence of choice. Because you can be in extreme bliss and love all the time. You don't need a reason to experience that. You don't. And that's a very difficult concept for people to understand. When you are so into the system of cause and effect, it's like you don't allow yourself to feel great unless you're doing what the system thinks that you should do in order to earn that experience of satisfaction and bliss and love. You don't need the system to be happy. You can break free of the system. You don't need the approval of other people to believe in yourself. In fact, it's better to believe in yourself, not needing the approval of others. So that's the great thing, though. No matter what mistake you felt you made in the past, you always have that choice to believe in your unlimitlessness, to go within, to experience the place between thoughts, to experience the expansiveness of the highest truth, of ultimate truth, this extreme euphoria. There's just so much that can be experienced. But let's just go ahead here. Truth is a living... I'll read to you what I wrote earlier that I didn't read yet. Truth is a living, breathing thing. That is what people don't understand and find it hard to believe. And that's truth. Truth is an independent conscious entity. It lives and breathes through all of us. And the more we understand and realize that, the more you can directly benefit from this knowledge, and the more you can directly experience this and become empowered to be a force of nature. We certainly are free to choose which clothes to wear or what food to eat. Freedom is not about choices, but being free from the choices that limit us. The closer we get to our authenticity and to the highest truth, the more we feel like we are experiencing the best choice. Enlightenment is uninterruptible bliss. Nobody is truly free if you give someone or something the power to offend you or to ruin your day. I mean, how many people claim to be in uninterruptible bliss whereby no movie or alcohol or argumentative pessimistic people or even porn has the power to interrupt it? I know I, Atma Bodha, claim this, that nothing has the power to interrupt my bliss. And that is why I am doing these podcasts every day, because I want this for you too. Through experiencing our individuality deeply, we feel connected with everyone and with highest nature. And more than that, we see the best in everyone, because we also see the best in ourselves. And we don't regard ourselves as superior to anyone else, because we can see the superiority in everyone else. It is that deepest part of each of us, which is the best in each of us. And this best in each of us is the best in all of us. And that is what unites us. This common core of excellence, that is the secret that makes free will possible. And it's when we forget this core, this unlimited nature, is when we have less authenticity, and thus we are not experiencing free will. What is free will but the ability to act independently? And how can you act independently if you are not liberated? And how can you be liberated if other people have the ability to ruin your day? If you give other people the power to upset you, offend you, trigger you, how are you independent? How do you have free will? You don't. You're being weak when this happens. You are easily manipulatable. And this is why it's understandable why many think that free will doesn't exist. Because they're living such a superficial version of themselves that is all they know. They've not come from the deepest place within them where they can feel that love, that unconditional agape love, that deep core of sincerity. Their mind is still clouded and noisy with busy thoughts that are disrupting their peace. And you can overcome that because the true you is there. It's deep within. All you need to do is silence your mind, focus on breath, and these podcasts can help you also. This is Atma Bodha signing off. Until tomorrow, you have a fantastic day.